And yes, joining us this morning to look at the stories that we have is Dr. Dennis Ekemeze, a regular on the show and a public affairs analyst. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, listener, viewers, and David.
Good morning and welcome.
Thank you.
All right, we'll begin with ABS website, www.absradiotv.com, where we have former Ekwusigo Council Chairman Obi seeks justice against DSS for brutalizing son. Anambra government provides free transportation to people through state mass transit scheme. Anambra electorate cautioned against selling votes. NLC holds nationwide protest today over minimum wage, says no strike yet. Obiano inaugurates Golden Tulip Hotels and Resorts Agolo, restates commitment towards promoting tourism. Ume calls for sustained efforts towards preserving Igbo cultural heritage. 11-year-old Munachichi Obi wins ABS radio quiz competition, goes home with water dispenser. Those are the stories we have on ABS website. There are other stories there. You can also get there and become part of the discussion. But for now, you can join us to the live studios of Anambra Broadcasting Service by calling the phone lines on your screen to make contributions. Anambra government provides free transportation to people through state mass transit scheme.
Yes, do I?
Yes, go on.
Yes, the mass transit scheme of the state government is encouraging the commuters, the transporters, especially the civil servants who are being converted from their place of work to a place where they will go back to their homes. Onitsha, Newi, and Agwata, I do see them on the. In fact, this morning I saw the vehicles plying the roads. So it's encouraging, and it is going to reduce the cost of transportation both for the civil servants and other people who use what they call the Obiano bus.
All right. Obiano inaugurates Golden Tulip Hotels and Resorts Agolo, restates commitment towards promoting tourism.
Yes, I think it's akin to his words during campaign that is going to continue, construct, and then commission, and then start new ones. And although I wasn't there yesterday as part of Anocha people, but I think the people are so much interested and so much enthusiastic that such very nice edifice, 5-star hotel, was opened in that environment. And if you know Aguru Lake very well, very conducive, just likened to that of Enike restaurant, and then with very nice, serene and aquatic animals like crocodiles, and which people will go and watch and see. And for us in Danocha, I think we say Governor Jisike Nibe Kweme. Beyond
Danocha, what would that location of the hotels do for the opening up of that area?
Yeah, the environment, that's you can't remove Ndanocha from the from the lake.
You want to claim it?
It's our own, and it's going to provide revenue, improve revenue generation from the Anambra and then entire the country, because tourists will be coming from all parts of the world to enjoy such very nice facility. I visited it, though I wasn't at the commission stage yesterday, but if you go there, you will say, the Anambra I on now.
All right, let's move now to the Daily Sun newspaper. On the front page, we have court bans APC from Rivers elections. Court bans APC from Rivers elections, nullifies primaries, restrains INEC from accepting candidates from either factions. We will appeal, vows APC. And on the front banner there, we have Borno elders beg Buhari, save our land, presents 10 demands, Governor Shetima weeps. IPI, MPAN, NGE, others kick as Army explains Delhi Trust closure. I am committed to free fair elections, Buhari promises again. Federal government budgets 8.7 billion for suspended national carrier. There are other stories on the front page of the Sun, but for now we'll take these ones. Court bans APC from Rivers elections. This thing has, we saw it coming, and finally we are seeing this. Just few days to the election day.
Well, there's still time because they have the right to still appeal, and then maybe the higher courts will now overrule what the lower court did or accept it. And then I don't think it will be for the interest of that state for such situation to exist, because it's going to breed very, 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 very unconducive political rivalry and then agitations from the people. But however, let's watch, because
So
it's
how could this kind of agitations be managed at a time like this?
That's at times there's political decision. So that's what I ordinarily will not argue on that issue, because it's a court issue. Let court decide.
All right. Borno elders beg Buhari, save our land.
Truly, it's a very pathetic situation. If you go to Borno, I've been there for about 6 weeks ago, and the devastation, the rate of killings, the insurgency there is multiplying every day, because if you study the tactics of the Boko Haram, and now multiplied into Islamic State of West Africa, you see them pushing in to take possession of that area, enclave. And then my worry is that in spite of all enormous resources being put in that place, still the Boko Haram is still devastating that place. So what is the military? What are they doing? There's the need to strategize and be able to come up with very strong strategy, very strong military tactics to quell that situation. Because the invaders have, let me call them, the invaders have turned that place into a mess. And then guerrilla warfare is taking place daily, every night, every day.
All right, let's look at the Nation newspaper now. On the front page of the Nation, Buhari, Tinubu will fully be in charge of campaign. President promises to leave legacy for free, fair elections. Army defense action on Delhi trusts amid knocks. Court bans Rivers APC candidates. That's still the story there. Let's look at this issue of Delhi trusts and the action the army took to lock down the office of Delhi Trust in Abuja and Maiduguri.
Yes, whoever leaked that story, I don't think he did it on as concerns national interest and national security, because it's part of the problem, because it's giving clue to Boko Haram or to the IC people to know how to get our soldiers and then be able to maneuver the war situation there. And as they said, what they did is based on national interest and national security. And national interest and national security comes first. So there has to be dialogue. I'm happy that the national president of NUJ, Siguzo, is taking it up at a very diplomatic, very cordial, mutual relationship, so that the military-civilian relationship will be established and then be able to ravel the situation and then open the office. All
right, but what's your view on the action the military took? Do you think it was rash on the press, even though it's agreed now that that publication was a wrong foot?
That's what I said earlier. Once it comes to national interest and national security, you'll be overthrown by the national issue and national contention and national demand.
President promises to leave legacy for free, fair elections.
He has no option, because Jonathan set the pace. He has no option. It's a national imperative as the head of state. He has to do that and has to make room for other people to be accommodated, so that free and fair election will be actualized in Nigeria for Nigeria to move forward. It's a very, very necessary democratic value he has to establish.
All right, we have someone joining us in the studio. Hello. 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 All right, let's move on now to the Punch. And on the front page of the Punch, politicians buying PVCs from voters. INEC chair, over 84 million Nigerians to vote in 2019 polls. Military invasion of Delhi Trust, journalists arrest rash, coming from UK and others. Tinubu takes full charge of my campaign, says Buhari. 2019, FIRS sets 8 trillion revenue target. Chetima whips begs president to end Boko Haram insurgency. And below the statistics page there we have court bars Rivers APC candidates for 2019 elections. I learned about my husband's death on WhatsApp, wife of NAF pilot. Ibadan Mogajis cautions CC2 against chieftaincy reforms. Let's look at the banner story. There are politicians buying PVCs from voters.
Well, the INEC needs to investigate that allegation and then be able to come up with it.
It's actually an INEC chairman that is making it.
Yeah, but he has to investigate and establish it so that it will be a true situation, so that people will be aware and then be cautious. And then who is buying and who is selling? That's is part of that, the beginning of vote buying and vote selling. So they have turned the democracy into a marketplace where you buy and sell and buy PVC, and then people who vote for you. It's a very dangerous situation for this democracy.
So how do you think we can handle this dangerous situation?
The police is there. They should come up with an investigation and arrest and then be able to charge them to court. If there is law, because if you study the Electoral Act, at times I couldn't place the position of...
even in the new Electoral Act, it wasn't strong on the punishments for vote buying.
That's what I'm saying. It's not even... There's a caveat or there's a lacuna there that is a manipulative situation where you maneuver.
So even the new Electoral Act that have not been signed by the president still lacks some, will I say, credibility or completeness?
I don't need to comment on issue the act that has not been endorsed by the president.
But if
it goes
on to be endorsed,
then if it's endorsed, we'll discuss it. Now that it's not endorsed, there's no need discussing it because...
So we don't discuss it now that it's not been endorsed and we have it endorsed. It's a law, and the process of re-amending a law will take longer time than a process that has not been passed.
That's what we are saying, a tourism that is going to be implemented. But let's look at what is...
So would you ask the National Assembly to look back at the Electoral
When would they
Act?
have time to do that? Where some of them are already at their campaign venues and their campaign...
but governance comes first. Governance comes first.
Governance, but politicians would take their decisions.
All right, over 84 million Nigerians to vote in 2019 polls. Do you look at these statistics? Is it a positive? We have less than 42% of Nigerians registering. And maybe less than the number of, by the statistics, the number of people who are eligible to vote.
84% to vote.
For more than 42% of the whole population of Nigeria.
Well, it's a pass mark.
Is it a pass mark?
It's a pass mark.
Okay.
Yes, because politics is a game of number. A person who wins scores the highest number.
So now let's look at it very well. In previous elections, we've seen, even with this number, we're less than, I think the last election we have about over 60 million people voting.
Yes.
And then we didn't have up to 40 million of them coming out to vote during the elections. How do we address the issue of voter apathy this time?
The various bodies, especially the political parties, should embark on public enlightenment. The National Orientation Agency, of course, the other day I saw the DG issuing instruction that they should move to various states, move to the various wards and various communities to start enlightening the people. And the danger, my fear and my apprehension is that, for instance, the presidential election, we are going to have about 51 presidential candidates. And then other elections, we are going to have about 91 candidates. So how do you thumbprint? So there's need for this aggressive campaign, because we are going, the number of void votes we are going to get this time is going to embarrass the nation.
All right, let's move over now to the front page of the Guardian newspaper. Chetima weeps over Boko Haram resurgence. President meet governors, offers pledges more equipment to tackle insurgency. Troops neutralize more terrorists, destroy gun trucks. Tinubu takes charge of Buhari's re-election campaign. Editors, CUPP IPC condemn military invasion of Delhi Trust office. Gabon arrests rebel chief, kills 2 in failed military coup. Delta youth protest against planned relocation of gas company. Court restrains INEC from accepting APC candidates in Rivers. Let's look at the issue of Gabon. We woke up yesterday morning to hear the story of an attempted military coup. Already they've taken over the radio station, the national radio station. Is this a retrogressive move for an African country?
Well, the Gabonese felt that the man has stayed over in power and already incapacitated, and the family to turn into a monarch that it may not be good for the nation, for their nation. However, the modern trend now in governance is democracy, and let them do it by ballot, and the pool be able to oust the president. However, you can see the reaction from all parts of the world that it's no longer fashionable to use a military coup to oust a sitting president.
Yes, it's no longer fashionable. I'm not an advocate of military coup, and I'll never be. But when you look at the issue of Gabon, they have a family who inadvertently have converted themselves into a monarchy, from the former Ali Bongo to this present one, and we saw him sick, just like something that happened in Nigeria some time ago. Nobody told Nigeria or the Gabonese people where their president is, their state of health, and what is happening. And we saw the military trying to maybe bring back sanity. How would you describe that? Is it a fault on the democratic system to allow for such lacuna for the military to come in?
Well, if you are in tune with the military operations, and then always remember that the military men do claim that they are the most disciplined people all over the world. And once you are not disciplined, they will call you either idle civilians or whatever. The situation there is that they have manipulated and maneuvered the political class and then wanted to take over. At times, it will not be for the interest of the nation, but for that moment to be able to restore the dignity of that particular state, nation state. However, the reaction of the world tells you that it's no longer needed. And what they should have done, they should allow the politicians, I always say it, allow the politicians to make their mistakes and then be able to correct themselves. If you usurp power and then truncate democracy, it will revolve back.
How long are we going to continue with these political mistakes in Africa? We remember in Zimbabwe what happened, and several other countries within 2018, and then Gabon. How do we address the issue of sit-tight syndrome in Africa? You remember also the case of what is happening in Cameroon.
Yes.
How do we address the issue of sit-tight syndrome in what we call democracy in African nations?
Comparatively, if you apply the sense the Zimbabweans applied, grew a strong opposition. Not just strong opposition, grow strong political elite, grow strong political institutions like political parties, so that you'll be able to usurp power. You take power by force, nobody will give you, dash you power. It's not power. But with good strategy of political enlightenment, education, through high-powered political elite, then as it happened in Zimbabwe, because that's Zimbabwe still and a good example for Africa.
But you know, Zimbabwe was a re-strategized coup.
Yes, a re-strategized
it was a coup they did.
It was a palace coup.
The international press that this wasn't a coup.
It's a palace coup. It's a palace coup among the political elites. And then they were able to maneuver the 94-year-old Mugabe out. And that's what the Gabonese should do. But if you know Gabon is not all that rich country. I'm not saying that they are not well educated to be compared with Nigeria, where you have a vast population, a vast educated elite, a vast aggressive political elite that will be eager to agitate to retain democracy.
All right, discussions on these and more continues as we look at news on what is happening in Africa and in Nigeria in particular. This morning we looked at several papers from ABS website to other major national dailies and issues that concern our corporate and existence as Nigerians. And this morning we had Dr. Dennis Ekem as a public affairs commentator joining us in the show. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dave, for that exposition, and thank you, ABS, let me congratulate the managing director of ABS for being a high chief now in Umuri town.
Yes.
And then Enugu in particular.
Yeah.
And if you watch him, his dance step and every other thing, you see that the elegant man is just like an elephant dancing on the floor of Enugu. I congratulate him.
All right, we'll move on now.